Good evening, folks. Dr. Freedom here with you. Time for Dr. News. News from in and around the universe that may or may not make you want to go, that weather's getting mighty ugly outside. But sadly, that's the truth. It's getting to be pretty nasty out there. I think we might have some thunderstorms coming in. Yeah, you can tell it's getting cold in Ohio. You know how you can tell? Not by simply sticking your foot out the door. That would be too easy. Or even looking at a thermometer. Watch for the spiders. Why do you think I've gone on safari tonight? Because we got some ugly-looking spiders here. You know, nothing tarantula-sized, but still, they're mighty ugly. And they start coming in like mad this time of the year because they're looking for somewhere warm to nest. Yeah. Oh, man. But you're not here to hear about my spider problem or anything like that. You know, I was going to do a video last night, but then I had to do a sleep study for my sleep apnea. And, you know, it's pretty much probably the same it was back 15 years ago. I just had to have it redone, though, because the original records were lost. Nobody has them for some strange reason. So I had to undergo this again. But it was weirding me out because it was like a freaking hotel suite in there, man. First time I had this done, it was in a like hospital room environment. You know, the room wasn't even half as big as the one I had last night. The one I had last night had like 2 easy chairs, a love seat, a double bed, and a full bathroom. And I'm like, the other one, I had to take all these wires, bunch them up, and then trod my butt down the hallway in a hospital gown. You know, but okay, you're not even here to hear it. Let's get to the good stuff. Let's get to the stuff you're here to see. Okay, off we soar into the wild weird yonder. First up, over here on Mandip Gill's Instagram page, apparently there was a gathering with Bradley Walsh, Jodie Whittaker, Taz Cole, and herself. And if you scroll through here, well, there's just a couple shots here and there. But here's Bradley Walsh, apparently looking like he's maybe had a little too much. We don't know. And, of course, there's Jodie having a good old time. Also, for a while there on Toss and Cole's stories, over he had a video of them doing a little singing and all that. But, like I said, I think it's gone. I don't know. You might want to look around. You might find it somewhere. I just didn't have time to find the link before I got started tonight. But if I ever come across it, I'll share it with you. So, just a couple cute pics here and there from I guess a little gathering they had. And I'm beginning to wonder if they haven't wrapped Series 12, because we haven't heard anything about it in quite a while. And I think maybe they might have quietly wrapped it. We don't know. We'll find out. We'll have to keep our like I said, keep our eyes peeled. All right. If I get dementia, I'll end it like my dad. I'll end it in Switzerland, says Christopher Eccleston. Now, this is the mirror, but of course, a lot of stuff coming out in his book, I Love the Bones of You, his memoirs. And one of the things he touched on was, his father's battle with dementia. Matter of fact, it says here, Ronnie died in 2012, age 83, of vascular dementia. He'd been diagnosed with around a decade earlier. Christopher says he's very like him in character. Knows it might be his, lot one day, because it does, go down the family line. And the thing is, if you've ever experienced somebody, been with somebody or, have had dementia, it's a very, very, evil disease. It robs you of everything, man. Your identity, your memories. He goes, I'd be petrified, but I just think about the burden. It would be responsible if I didn't have children. He hesitates, thinking of Albert 7 and Esme 6, from his marriage to Mishka, which ended in 2015. He goes, but you are better to be forewarned. My dad didn't have that. I'd want to go to Switzerland. I'd want an exit. Absolutely. Dignitas. That's where I'd want to go. So, according to this article, and, from his book, and, from other things he said, that's the route he'd want to go. And when you see, the effects of dementia on a person, especially the people surrounding them, in a way, I kind of don't blame him. All right, Eccleston to attend the Gallifrey One Convention. Eccleston's been announced as a guest. His appearance, he'll attend both days of the convention, now in its 31st year. And it says here, it goes on about how he was reluctant to do convention and all that, but he talked about that in his Rose City Comic-Con appearance, that, time mellows one out, plus the fact he'd had a nervous breakdown. But the main big thing is, Eccleston will be attending Gallifrey One this year for you folks who are interested. All right. Now, this is an article over on Cult Box. Once again, we're tapping on to things he said. Eccleston further spoke of Davies' feminist tendencies in his recent autobiography, and of course is going into the book. So Russell's great legacy would be the feminization of the show. As a progressive man, he made Rose an equal, not a sidekick. It is he who on several occasions saves, it is she, oh God, see, I slipped, who on several occasions saves the Doctor rather than the other way around. Oh my God, he's a PC SJW maniac. All right, watching our characters now reinforces what I concluded at the time. Russell enjoys writing more for women than he does for men. If so, I'm glad. There's been a lot of writing for men. Rose arrives on screen fully formed, one of the strongest female characters of any show of any year, painting a solid line leading directly to Jodie Whittaker. Here we go over on Cold Box. Eccleston mentions that he looked to Russell T Davies for inspiration for the character. So he said basically when you see him as the Doctor, that's him channeling Russell, is one of the things he said at the one con. So here you go, nice article compiling some of the stuff we've learned over the last few days. All right, now here's one that'll knock you on your side. BBC Studios partners with Build-A-Bear for a new Doctor Who collection. The merch isn't selling. Our BBC Studios has announced its first licensing partnership with the popular global brand specializing in customizable stuffed animals, Build-A-Bear, to create a new collection of plush outfits and accessories based on the Doctor Who franchise. This is the first time that a Doctor Who plush are going to be offered at Build-A-Bear Workshop, with products launching online in both the UK and the US in 2020. So this is a big deal, folks. This is something that's never happened before. Something to look forward to if this is your thing, if you're into more merch. And sadly, unless you've had your head stuck in the sand, buried at the bottom of a cave somewhere in the Marianas Trench, the Doctor Who experience in Cardiff is being dismantled. And it just amazes me that they've put this article up like 2 days after the photos were already out. But sadly, it explains here the fate of what's going to be this building. Get ready for this, folks. The building itself has been acquired by the House of Sport, owned by Steve Borley, Cardiff City FC director and House of Sport founder. The plan is to reconstruct the structure in Llanrumney, where it will be used as a football academy and center of excellence. So, sadly, yes, the building's coming down, the lot will soon be empty, and it's moving to Llanrumney, wherever that is. Oh, here's a nice article. It's an interview here with Bradley Walsh on his unwavering work ethic, Doctor Who and Coro. And it's a nice piece about, some of the things he did. Like it says right here, if you look. So when I was not in Cardiff for Doctor Who, I was in ITV studio making 3 shows a day from 10 o'clock in the morning till 7 at night. And he's referring, of course, to filming The Chase. And he goes on a bit here and, talks about various things he's done and various, aspects. So I think it's a nice little thing to go check out if you want to get a little more insight on the Bradders. All right, moving forward. Tardis send-off for a man who ran the Blackpool's Doctor Who exhibition. The man who used to run this exhibition on the prom unfortunately passed away. David Boyle, 71, was one of the Fylde Coast's best-known characters, and I'm sorry if I butchered that word, regularly seen at the club days in his copy of John Pertwee's Doctor Who car, Bessie. Now, the fan of the BBC science fiction classic who ran the exhibitions in Blackpool from 2004 to 2009, in Llangollen from 94 to 2003, and a dedicated UFO researcher, he died at Blackpool Victoria Hospital from septicemia. He'll be transported to his funeral in a TARDIS-shaped coffin. Oh, man, I hate to end on a downer, so I'll end with this. Is there finally a game that feels like Doctor Who? And this is over here on GameSpot, and they're talking about The Edge of Time. So they're going a little bit into the VR game. They also touch on the other ones that came before that magically disappeared. So if you're into gaming and all that and you want to hear a bit more about the Edge of Time VR game, here's a short article for you. So yes, Eccleston. Things have been all things have been Eccleston, since his latest, his memoir came out, and I Love the Bones of You. And it was very revealing, as was his, recent Q&A and panels that he's been doing at cons. He's not holding back names anymore. He names people's names and stuff like that. So if you can find them, I had a link for one, I think it was the last video I did. It wasn't one of the live streams, but also, somebody apparently was attempting to menace the channel because they got owned. I'm deeply sorry, but As I said in my one video, don't look at me and think that because I'm overweight, white, middle-aged, and come from somewhere in America that I must be dumb as a frickin' stump. It just amazes the living crap out of me, the tantrums they get thrown and all that. Then, of course, they pulled the I'm just kidding card. It's like, dude, I screen capped the conversation. You weren't kidding. You were trying to put one over on me, and you got owned. And this will be the last you ever get mentioned, but I've already banned the guy from the channel, so there's no need to worry about it. But speaking of that, you know, I don't blame Eccleston for being a bit vicious, because we've seen from his recent testimonies and all that they basically blacklisted him for a number of years. And then people wonder why he didn't want to come back and do the 50th. He said he would have done the 50th maybe if the BBC had apologized. But do we honestly think the Beeb ever will? They still haven't apologized to Colin Baker for railroading him, selling him down the river. And that was going on 30 plus years ago. But also, I'm hearing some disturbing thing. You remember when I was all telling you that Capaldi was likely forced out? Now, a lot of people were hoping he'd go do Big Finish. And I can't help but wonder, maybe he's not, because he's holding this back, and not necessarily a grudge against Doctor Who, the show itself, but maybe he just doesn't want to come back to the subject because it's too painful. But remember, that's speculation. Also, October 13th is that date is still popping up like crazy. So please keep your eyes, ears, and whatever respective organs you use to sense things peeled, including your nose. No. Good night, everybody. Take care of yourselves.